Time for another keynote now. This is 5G and AI, transforming connectivity with Alper Benli, Head of Transformation and Strategic Initiatives in Europe and Latin America at Ericsson. Hi, Alper, how are you?
Hello, I'm great. Thank you very much for having me again.
Yeah, very, very welcome. Great to see you again. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you're really tight for time today, so thank you so much for hanging on the line there whilst we sorted out a few tech problems there. The virtual floor is yours, and I'll be back at the end of your presentation.
Thank you very much. So let's start with an outlook in terms of how our society and the businesses are evolving together. There are three major trends that we see at the moment transforming our society, our industry. Those are digitalization, automation, and electrification. And the progress of those trends are really depending on three key enabling technologies. Mobile. So when I say mobile, I'm especially referring to 5G and the 5G infrastructure, artificial intelligence, and cloud computing. So if you just, look closer to those enablers, AI is super important. We will hear more and more in the upcoming years about artificial intelligence. It will enable intelligent automation. It's boosting our productivity personally and in organizational levels. It will enable a lot of personalized services. Cloud computing is also very critical. It's offering scalable on-demand computing power to support the innovation. But when you look at the mobile technologies, especially the 5G in particular, so you need to have this reliable infrastructure to provide high-speed, low-latency network. So that's really must. That's really required to enable all of those innovation that we are talking about. And from that perspective, I see 5G is a sort of like the railways during the industrial revolution. So you need to really have that infrastructure, and otherwise none of those advancements can be really scaled. That's why it's really critical to understand what exactly 5G is, what potential it has, and how it will transform our world and society. So 5G is obviously the fifth generation of the mobile technology. It's connecting billions of devices, billions of people, applications. It's powering smart cities, enabling all the infrastructure needed for these advanced applications that we are talking in the industry. So it offers much more lower latency. When you look at the speeds, it operates up to 100 times faster compared to 4G, which is providing almost all the instant data transmission for the networks. But apart from those technical features and capabilities, I think most importantly, 5G is unlocking a lot of opportunities for all of us that we have never seen before. So from that perspective, 5G is not all about speed or latency. I think it's a strong transforming power. So it can create new revenue streams, it can create jobs, it can boost the economy, and it can really reshape the society that we are in. And I think from that perspective, it's really critical to understand the full potential of 5G. There are some key differentiators of this technology. Obviously, the speed. 5G is designed to deliver significantly faster data rates compared to 4G. When you look at the download data rates, it's up to 20 gigabit per second. Upload data rates are up to 10 gigabit per second. It's providing wider bandwidths, 5G mid and high band spectrum. It's introducing new and wider bandwidth capabilities. Basically, it's unlocking a lot of higher capacity on any given bandwidth without the addition of new radio sites. It's also providing lower latency. So the 5G is basically reducing the time it takes for data travel across the network to your device by a factor of 5. So that's a huge improvement when you compare it with 4G. It means that it lowers the latency to a matter of milliseconds. So that's why that will give you the foundation to enable all these 5G real-time applications. When you look at the coverage parts, the 5G carrier aggregation, the spectrum sharing, so those things make it possible to aggregate and reuse the deployed sites and spectrum, which is enabling 5G to provide wider coverage through the existing radios. And we can just continue, right? So there are many other features as well. But all in all, those capabilities are providing amazing opportunities to everyone. So it's providing opportunities to consumers. So they will be able to have instant access to streaming, gaming, and smart home devices without experiencing any buffers or any delays. And if you are thinking about everyday activities that we have, such as video calls. I'm in a video call right now. When you experience or when you need to download large files, or in the future, when we start to use more and more augmented reality use cases, interactive learning opportunities, so those use cases will become effortless and much more smoother experiences moving forward. If you look at enterprise and public sector, I think we are not where we need to be from enterprise and public sector perspective in terms of adopting 5G. But I think we have every reason to believe that 5G will be scaled in those areas because they're going to have also real-time data. They will have the improved connectivity, and those businesses can afterwards implement smarter solutions. That can be like automated operations, automated factories, AI-driven analytics, and all this seamless remote work will be possible for enterprise and public sector as well. Service providers, that will create a lot of customized offerings, especially with the help of artificial intelligence moving forward. So if you take critical healthcare applications, for instance, let's say remote surgeries. So that kind of use cases will be highly depending on ultra-reliable connectivity. And 5G offers that. Or if you take immersive gaming and virtual reality experiences, so 5G can just provide this low latency network. But those things, of course, is not going to happen naturally. And so what we need to do is we need to really accelerate the adoption of this technology. That's why I want to share some figures with you today. So those figures are based on Ericsson's mobility report that we have launched in November 2024. When we look at those figures, it's obvious that the 5G subscriptions are increasing over the time, but this can be accelerated. As of end of 2024, the global 5G subscriptions have reached to 2.3 billion, which is over 25% of all mobile subscriptions. And we are expecting 5G to overtake 4G as a dominant mobile access technology for the first time in 2027. And with that progress, by the end of 2030, 5G mobile subscriptions are going to reach around 6.3 billion. When you look at 5G standalone is really key to unlock the full potential of 5G. It doesn't have any dependency to LTE infrastructure. So 5G standalone, basically offloading the 4G networks, but also it enables more powerful, more programmable new use cases. So that's really critical to implement the 5G standalone to unlock the full 5G features and capabilities. As on the end of 2024, 5G standalone subscriptions have reached to 1.2 billion globally, but majority of which is coming from China and India. In fact, almost 1.1 billion of those subscriptions are coming from those countries. We have around 320 service providers have now launched commercial 5G services, and more than 60 they have deployed or launched 5G standalone. And looking ahead, 5G standalone subscriptions are forecasted to reach 3.6 billion by the end of 2030, and that will account nearly 60% of the 5G subscriptions at that time. Looking ahead, 6G is expected to arrive around 2030, following on from the launches of 5G standalone and 5G advanced. So we'll start to see the first commercial use cases of 6G almost 5 years from now. And of course, that will bring some additional capacity, additional performance efficiency, but also new advanced use cases such as, merging physical and digital worlds and so on. I want to take a closer look at the shift in mobile subscriptions. So if we look closer to this graph, the orange part is showing the 5G subscriptions and the green is mainly showing the LTE subscriptions over the years. And you can clearly see the shift from 4G to 5G over the time. So 5G subscriptions showing a significant increase starting from 2020, surpassing the 4G subscriptions, LTE subscriptions by 2027. That's what we are forecasting right now. And by the way, that forecast is, exceeding our early predictions, and which is partly driven by the growth in India and China. And with that pace over this, it's clear that we will see that steady decline of the LTE subscriptions as 5G adoption accelerates. But when you look behind those numbers, and so when you look at the regional breakdown, the story is different for every region. So First of all, North America is leading the way with 71% mobile subscription on 5G. Northeast Asia is another major player with 51% subscriptions on 5G. We are seeing an impressive progress with 47% mobile subscriptions are on 5G in the GCC countries at the moment. And I think I need to mention India because the penetration in India is almost doubled during 2024, make them to reach around 23% by the end of last year. When we look at 2030 forecast, we believe that GCC will have the highest 5G penetration at 93% in 2030, and that region will be closely followed by Western Europe at 92% and North America at 91%. So why those numbers are important? So what actually those numbers are telling us? So if you look at last decade's progress when it comes to the digitalization in the last decade, mainly led by United States and China. Why? Because they were on the back of the early launches of the 4G. So they had that infrastructure to let that digitalization. And when you look at the 4G rollouts at that time, Europe was slower compared to other regions, so which led Europe to missed opportunities and lost economic growth for that region. And today, we pretty much see the same trend at the moment. And again, US and China similarly driving the deployment of the high-performing 5G networks. We also see, as I said, rapid progress in other regions such as India and some part of the Middle East. But when you look at the Europe in terms of the progress, it's still slow compared to other regions. And when you look at also the investment figures in the digital infrastructure is much less. If you compare it with US, Europe is spending less than half of the investments made by the United States at the moment. So I think this is a critical moment for Europe as there's a growing gap between Europe and other regions at the moment. I want to spend a bit of a time also on the mobile traffic growth. So mobile data traffic is expected to grow 2.5x between end of last year and 2030. The total mobile data traffic, including fixed wireless access, is expected to grow around 3x between 2024 and 2030. And when you look at also the coverage figures, that will also increase, and the 5G population coverage outside mainland China is going to reach around 85% in 2030. So all of those figures basically telling us the 5G coverage, the data traffic, and the subscription numbers is going to increase globally in the next 5 years. In a nutshell, I think we need to really understand the full potential of 5G. 5G is not only about faster speeds, 5G is not only about lower latency, 5G is a big transformative power. So as I said, it can enable job creation, it has the power to boost the global economic growth, it can improve our lives, all parts of the society's lives, for consumers, businesses, governments, CSPs, and majority part of the society can just get positive impact from 5G. But to realize this potential, we need to speed up the 5G deployment, especially in the regions like Europe. We need to accelerate the transition to 5G standalone. This is also critical because, as I said, that's only when we will get and unlock all the capabilities of 5G, including network slicing, improved reliability, ultra-low latency. And last but not least, AI is really critical, and we'll be talking about AI more and more. And I think the synergy between 5G and artificial intelligence is going to revolutionize the network operations, number one, but also it's going to create a lot of opportunities for the CSPs moving forward. So that's why I want to spend a bit more time on AI and say few words why it's critical for our industry. I think the good thing about AI is one of the most horizontal technology that we have ever seen. So that's why it will create a lot of different value across different areas. There are 6 areas that I want to summarize, one of which is the effectiveness. AI is going to be one of the key drivers of self-optimizing and self-healing networks, right? So those networks highly depending on the progress on the AI part. AI is going to create a lot of new business opportunities, especially for CSPs when it comes to personalized new offerings. So that means CSPs will be able to tap into new revenue streams with the help of artificial intelligence. On the security front, security and compliance, I will say, often areas of concern when we discuss artificial intelligence. But I believe, with the trustworthy AI algorithms, I think it will reduce the security and compliance issues moving forward. It will help in detecting and preventing security threats, cyber attacks and fraud and so on. Sustainability front, AI will definitely contribute to reducing the energy consumption. It will allow companies to implement more eco-friendly technologies. On the customer service part, it will also change the customer services. We will see more personalized, smarter, faster customer service operations. And if you are thinking about like the super smart chatbots, right, which can do all this predictive analytics and everything. So I think that will make customer interactions much smoother and satisfying. And on the performance parts, it's significantly boosting the performance of employees and organizations by, automating the repetitive tasks, analyzing large data sets and many other things. So what I want to do is I want to share with you a result of a recent survey summarizing how CSPs are planning to use artificial intelligence in their businesses. So Omdia has asked CSPs to summarize the top use cases that they want to use in the area of OSS/BSS. The number one is with 74% network optimization, so meaning that CSPs are planning to leverage AI to optimize their networks because they believe that it's going to give predictive maintenance and that will reduce the downtime, which is true. The second thing is with 68% customer usage patterns. So that means CSPs are planning to have a better and deeper understanding in customer behavior. So in order for them to provide and enable tailored services to their customers. Third one is with 56% customer service automation and virtual assistants. So this is mainly referring to virtual assistants and chatbots. They will provide quicker and more accurate responses to the queries of the customers. Fourth one is fault detection and prediction with 49%, which is really critical to minimize the service disruptions. And the last one is differentiating telco services. So basically, CSPs want to create differentiated services through, advanced data analytics. So for helping them to stand out in this competitive market. But I think if you look at those areas, I think that's showing that AI is playing a dual role for CSPs. So one of them is providing and enhancing the network efficiency, the more operational part. And the second one is the new offering and the new revenue streams. Gen AI is also going to play a critical role moving forward. When we look at the user behaviors, and the user behaviors are increasingly demand more personalized and real-time use cases and experiences. So that's why I think Gen AI can create a lot of strategic opportunities for CSPs to address increasing demand of consumers. It can create new revenue streams. It can accelerate the network evolution. It can enhance the customer engagement. But also, interestingly, it will impact the mobile traffic growth moving forward, both on the uplink and downlink part. And I want to show a graph on this. If you look at the graph here, so that basically shows three potential scenarios, feature 1, feature 2, and feature 3. So the feature 1 is basically the green line that you see here, representing a scenario where we are expecting a minimal impact from Gen AI. The feature 2 is a scenario which is represented by blue line, and Gen AI adoption is going to drive moderate increase in the traffic. But when you look at the accelerated growth scenario, which is the feature 3, so in that scenario, we will see exponential growth in both uplink and downlink traffic in the high demand scenario. I think that's why, yes, Gen AI is presenting a lot of opportunities for the CSPs, but also it will, open up some new challenges for the mobile networks, and that will require CSPs to adapt, their infrastructure and adapt their strategies moving forward. I think overall, AI together with AI, 5G, and cloud, so that will be, definitely the trends moving forward for our industry. And the second one is the programmable networks. That will be another exciting area moving forward. Networks will become programmable to meet the complex and diverse service needs of our customers. And as Ericsson, we are investing quite a lot into that area. On the technical part, we will see a transition to more horizontal network architecture, which will enable more modular horizontal layers that will make more flexible and scalable networks, and that will just also make it easy for the integration of the 5G advanced and the 6G capabilities in the future. And last but not least, we will see more focus on sustainability and performance moving forward, like innovations in hardware, innovations in software, such as energy efficient designs and advanced processors. So that will be one of those trends moving forward. So we have started with current outlooks. I want to finish with some future outlook. And we will see increased adoption of 5G, artificial intelligence, and cloud moving forward. I think these technologies will drive also emerging trends and enabling groundbreaking use cases. The deployment of 5G standalone networks is really critical, and they are serving as the foundation to unlock all the advanced use cases that we are talking about. That's why accelerating the rollout of 5G standalone will remain as a top priority. The autonomous programmable networks, they will be also only feasible through the 5G standalone capabilities. We need to keep that in mind. Security, of course, that will remain as one of the key topics. I think the technology evolves, but the complexity of the security threats are also evolving. But I think the good news is that I think we will be equipped with better tools, right? So to mitigate those threats moving forward. And beyond 5G, 6G research and early trials are also ongoing. As I said, in 2030, we are expecting to see the first commercialized use cases of 6G. I think the last message from me is all those things is not going to happen naturally. So I think that the progress is heavily depending on how we will collaborate as an industry, the society, government, public-private sector, and all of these stakeholders, they need to work together to accelerate that progression. And only with that, so we can capture the full value of the 5G moving forward. So obviously, there are a lot of things to explore in each of those areas, but those are the key highlights I would like to share today. With that, back to you, please.
Alper, thank you so much. You've covered an extraordinary amount in an incredibly short time. And the question I would have is, when will this event have to be renamed Cloud and 6G Live? We're not far off it. I appreciate you are very much pushed for time, so I'll let you get on with your day, but thank you so much for joining us here at Cloud and 5G Live.
Thank you.